Hey guys, what's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite TV shows. And I'm gonna be doing a TV show review on Mad Men first season. I've originally planned to do this review on the back end of February, but shit happened and now it's delayed all the way to March. Without further ado, let's go. Mad Men is one of the most successful TV shows out there, winning 3 Emmy Awards for Outstanding Drama Series and 4, yes, you heard it right, 4 Golden Globes for Best Drama Series, Best TV Show, yeah. And, man, when Mad Men and Breaking Bad and Walking Dead were on AMC together, like, it's the peak of AMC, which is basically the channel, the studio that's broadcasting it. And the show is created by Matthew Weiner, who is actually heavily associated with the HBO classic The Sopranos, another very famous and successful TV show. But Mad Men is very, very much different from The Sopranos, or actually any TV show that I've ever watched, because I feel like it's neither a very gritty or intense drama show or a very funny and lighthearted comedy. It's about the 1960s, set in New York, USA. A bunch of people working in Madison Avenue as ad men and their family and friends, and that's basically it. Yes, this TV show is truly a special TV show. It's set in The Office, but it's not as funny as The Office, and neither is it as tense like House of Cards. It is a rather very, very realistic, in-your-face kind of realistic drama. And I've never really watched anything like it. In fact, when I first saw Mad Men, I wasn't a huge fan of it because it wasn't all that entertaining, to be honest. Anyway, let's dive into the plot. We have the centerpiece of the entire drama, Don Draper, portrayed by Jon Hamm. And first of all, Jon Hamm's performance as Don Draper is amazing. The way he acts is just so charming, just so classy, and Don Draper, you can really tell that even though Don Draper looks very confident in the outside, there's something inside him that's making him rather sad and lonely. And we also have characters like Peggy Olson, who is a new secretary who joined in the Sterling Cooper ad agency, while Don is, of course, the head of creativity. I actually forgot what's his position called, but he's in a very important position. And of course, we have Roger Sterling. He is, I guess, half the CEO, and the other half would be Bertram Cooper. And we also have Don Draper's wife, Betty Draper, portrayed by January Jones, and also a pretty solid performance in my opinion. And then we also have other colleagues in the workplace as well, including Pete, which is a standout because he is a total asshole, a total douchebag who wants more money, more attention, more fame, and who wants to have a higher position in the office, but just can't because he messes up all the time, and is portrayed by Vincent Kartheiser. Yes, that's his name. And we also have Joan, who, went through quite a bit of character development throughout the entire series. At first, she's a very manipulative and man-pleasing, women-competing girl, kinda slutty, kinda sly, Yeah, but as the series progresses, she changes quite a bit. And yeah, I also forgot to mention the actor for Roger Sterling is John Slattery, also a very solid performance. And that's basically it. Just an ad agency receiving clients, sometimes losing them, sometimes winning them, and their family and friends, tension between them, drama. Um, yeah, yeah. So I spent a great deal of time trying to figure out what's the entire point of the series. Is it to show what's life is like in the 60s in USA, or is it more character centric? Maybe. I don't know, but from what I can tell, I think mainly it's two characters, Don Draper and Peggy Olson. Oh yeah, by the way, Peggy Olson is portrayed by Elizabeth Moss, who's now June in The Handmaid's Tale, and also a great performance. Let's start off by talking about Don Draper's character development and his character in general and the entire series. Minor spoiler alert, but I'm gonna have to say it, talk about it anyway because this piece of trivia is very important to the entire series as a whole, and that is Don Draper is not who he said he is. He is not Don Draper. His real name is Dick Whitman, and he was adopted when he was very, very young, when both his parents had died, and he wasn't a huge talker. He was a loner, and he was a poor boy. And one day when he was serving in the Korean War, stuff's happened. He accidentally caused an explosion and killed the lieutenant, who's his boss at the time, and then he swapped tags with the lieutenant, so he became the lieutenant, Don Draper, and the person who died is Dick Whitman. And so yeah, Don Draper. He's always selling happiness. He's always selling things in general, and he always had to keep a very positive and optimistic outlook on him, but really in the inside he feels kind of hollow, because every single day, every single moment, it almost feels like he has sort of an identity crisis, almost. At least that's how I take it. And then for Peggy Olson's part, she's more of a newcomer who's very naive, very innocent. She wants to do good, and that's only what she does. But in the process of working in Sterling Cooper, she kind of learns how to be, I guess, more competitive, more aggressive, and I guess a little more smart in order to work her way up to the top. Yeah, I think the performances are great. I think the production design is also really, really great. You can really tell that Matthew Weiner did a shit ton of research for the show and to recreate the most accurate 60s. And I mean, I wasn't alive in the 60s, but that seems legit. That seems legitimately legit. And what else? The musical choices, they are great as well. I don't know that many songs from the 60s. I guess I could name like the Beatles, Rolling Stones. I believe they're from the 60s. Like very early Led Zeppelin, early Pink Floyd, Velvet Underground, and they're all bands from the UK anyway. USA, I don't know. The Doors, Jimi Hendrix, yeah, I don't know that much, but Matthew Weiner knows a lot. You can really tell. And another thing that I actually am very impressed by is the episode titles and the posters for every single season for Mad Men. They're all awesome. Especially for the posters. They're just very, very classy. In fact, the title sequence of the show is probably my favorite title sequence for a TV show ever. It's simple, straightforward, but it just oozes class and charisma with the, with the punchy drums and dreary pianos. We see a silhouette of Don Draper falling down a bunch of buildings. But I guess the greatest thing about the TV show is that its dialogues, they are golden. They are golden. They are really, really well written. Not only do they not only do they flow very naturally, not only do they sound very realistic, there are at least 6 to 7 quotes every episode. Like, not like small quotes, like really good quotes. Ranging from funny, witty one-liners to very emotional and actually deep monologues. We have a very impressive speech from Don Draper from the pilot episode where he defines happiness, and then at the end of the season we have the wheel where Don Draper had to sell this film rotation thing, and he gave an epically emotional and heart-melting speech. Oh my gosh. And I'm gonna go through all the episodes on the season very briefly. The pilot episode is titled Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and it's actually a pretty solid title episode that sets the set really well. And episodes 2, 3, and 4, they aren't very eventful actually, but we still see a lot of interesting character moments here and there. And these episodes are Ladies' Room, Marriage of Figaro, and New Amsterdam. Episode 5, 5G, is a highlight of the episode because we see the characters tense up. And first of all, one of the staffs there, one of the colleagues there, wrote like a short story, and it got published by some famous newspapers. And Pete was jealous. Pete was envious, so he wanted to write his own story, and of course he didn't succeed, and he's mad. And we also see Pete trying to fight Don. He's trying to be the head of creative director, and Also, Don's past, his childhood, is finally revealed a little bit when his long lost, I guess, stepbrother is found him. Adam Whitman, that is. Episode 6 is titled Babylon. It's not that great, but I still think it's pretty good. We have the very famous scene, the lipstick ad, because they wanted to they had a client and they wanted to sell lipsticks, and one of the person who ended up trying those lipsticks were Peggy Olson, and she came out with a great quote, great slogan, and also a very memorable scene for me would be Don Draper being confronted by hippies. I don't know if that's episode 6 or not, but that scene alone is pretty awesome, because Don Draper was on a pretty bad situation, pretty bad position in that point with those hipster people, and at the end, they were in a room in an apartment, and there was policemen outside, and Don Draper wanted to leave, and then one of the hippies said, there's police outside, you can't leave. And Don Draper took his hat and pointed and said, no, you can't leave. And he left. And man, Don Draper, oh man, so much class. And episode 7 is titled Red in the Face, and I guess if you like, drama, like tension between people, you can check out this episode. Betty, having some drama on her own with some other housewives as well. Also, on a side note, it's actually pretty saddening to see that in the 60s, women, the role of women is still not really that great. Like, I know there are some women in the 60s who are actually very successful and rich. Yeah, we also see, more of Roger Sterling's love life. Very troubling love life indeed. I guess Roger Sterling's role as a supporting character is also pretty interesting. Episode 8, The Hobo Code, is also another highlight here. We get all these Don Draper flashbacks revealing more about his past, and yeah. You have to see it for yourself. I mean, it's not like entertaining or anything. It's not like tragic or anything, but it has a meaning inside. And episode 9, Shoot, is also one of my favorites here. Of course, we have Betty actually getting a job opportunity as a model, and she did a photo shoot, but at the end she didn't like it. She wanted to stay at home, and at the end she just kind of went crazy, and she started to shoot at birds belonging to her neighbor, and yeah. In fact, throughout the whole season, Betty has this very subtle, I guess, psychological problem. Not necessarily mental problem, but like something's bothering her. You know that. And also on the next episode, Long Weekend, Roger Sterling has a, I guess I'm not going to say it because it's going to spoil, I don't want to spoil anything, but yeah, we get more insight into Roger's very, very rotten and corrupted love life. And episode 11, Indian Summer, is equally as good. Not great, but I guess it's tolerable. There are a couple of boring moments, I guess. The last 2 episodes are the highlights. The absolute highlights. We have Nixon versus Kennedy, and of course, that's the election between Richard Nixon and JFK, and of course, Nixon lost and JFK won, but, soon after he got assassinated. Oopsies. And, really, really nice recreation. And the last episode is where things really tense up, pile up, and, more shocking news from Peggy's storyline, and, of course, the very, very famous pitch from Don Draper. Very heart-startling, touching, very soul-shaking pitch. And at the end, oh man, it's just so lonely, so alienating. Don Draper decided to, have dinner with his family for Thanksgiving. He changed his mind. Originally, he didn't want to, but at the end, after the pitch, he wanted to, and then when he came back home, the family was gone. And he just sat in the stairs with this sad music in the back, and we just get a very, very stern stare at his very lonely core, I guess. Yeah, overall, Mad Men season 1 is a hard to digest show. It's a show that's a slow burner, a very, very, very slow burner, and it takes a lot of multiple viewings in order to be enjoyed. At least for me, because when I first watched it, I was 13, and it's the show's not that entertaining or eventful or anything, and I wasn't a huge fan of it at first, but as time goes by, I learned to like it a bit more, and overall, I really appreciate the production, the dialogues. They are awesome-tastic. The performances are, as always, awesome, and I just really like seeing this very wholesome recreation of the 60s, and the characters, the way they are portrayed, the way they are written, They are actually pretty deep, complex, and three-dimensional. And yeah. I guess I wouldn't give it a 9 because it's not all that eventful. But yeah, I still like it. I still like it a lot, actually. I think it's pretty great, actually. My favorite episode here is The Wheel, and my least favorite is Ladies' Room, and I'm saying Mad Men Season 1 is a TV show worth watching, and I'm giving it an 8. Yes, an 8 out of 10. So, have you watched Mad Men Season 1 from 1 to 10? How much did you rate it? Like if you like it, hey, if you hate it, and subscribe if you want more. And thanks for watching. And by the way, if you're wondering, my tongue is feeling a little better now, so I can speak properly. And I'm so happy about that. I don't know why.